Well, I'm starting off this video a lot more seriously than usual. It just wouldn't feel right if I didn't bring this up, but a few years ago, the creator of GLiTchHoG, Jaedounw, took their own life. I did not know Jaedounw personally, but I can tell there were people out there that cared about him, so it was unfortunate to see this person that people had a connection to just do this. I want to be as respectable to Jaedounw and their work, and I'd recommend you be respectable too. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video. Imagine you bought a Sonic plushie, and then after you did that, an insane man killed you. Now you are trapped in the void for 10 years straight, and you want to get revenge. After all, you were killed by Hobo Joe's brother down the road. You have to do something about it. But what if you were clinically insane? What if you wanted to mentally scar children for life? I introduced to you GLiTchHoG, a vengeful spirit that resides inside of Sonic 2 and Sonic SatAM. Knuckles is also there for some reason. I guess he didn't want to be left out. GLiTchHoG is one of those forgotten EXCs that nobody really talks about or even remembers. One day I randomly stumbled upon them because of fan art. I still miss this type of stuff. It's a little unfortunate because GLiTchHoG has a somewhat appealing design. I do personally think you shouldn't rely on that, but it does stand out. It's heavily based off the old Sonic cartoons, which is kinda neat. So without wasting any of your time, let's get into GLiTchHoG. The story goes as follows. Emma used to be a human before she got killed by her assassin. Now she resides inside of Sonic 2 and Sonic SatAM. This is a part of one singular disc. She now wants to get back at her assassin for doing this to her. Now here's the more complicated version of this story with extra steps. You might ask me, why did I not bring up this version instead? Because I don't really want to go through it. They do mention that she had a boss, even knowing she looks like this. This eventually started to give her a bunch of trauma. Her family despises her. A few days later, she buys a Sonic plushie and gets killed, and then she ends up in the void for 10 years straight. That's really all the story has to offer. I can tell it's very unfinished, but that's all you get out of it. One detail that does grab me with the story is the mention of more assassins, and GLiTchHoG wants to kill a bunch of them. That's actually kinda interesting. You know, kinda like what Batman would do. The opposite though. Who knows how the cancelled analog horror series would have done this though, but that's all for the story, so let's move on. GLiTchHoG is able to take on the appearance of other Sonic characters like Tails, Eggman, and Knuckles for whatever reason. Why is he even here? It's not a brand new idea I've seen before, but it is neat to me. It reminds me of the guy from Post Shift 2 and fucking Sparky Marky. GLiTchHoG is gender neutral, so they could either be a boy or a girl. This is due to her taking over Sonic's body. If GLiTchHoG crawls out of their disc, you're gonna be mentally scarred for life. Real detail, by the way. GLiTchHoG is absurdly strong to the point where they can take on 100 EXCs. That's right, Rerun, you're no longer the most overly powerful character anymore. Take that. If you took one look at GLiTchHoG and thought, hey, this reminds me of the Pivy glitch, that's because they're connected to it. That is all. Well, design. It's pretty simple, but that's not a bad thing. It's a corrupted, glitchy version of Sonic, and it's actually kinda creepy. What helps with that is the mouth and eyes, which makes it kinda menacing. And then we have the human form. It's pretty basic and not all that interesting, to be honest with you. I will give it this though. Going for a more simplistic design, unlike this, works better. She does have a pretty good disguise form though. This was a pretty straightforward summary, and I'm kinda sorry for that. I don't like that I have to say this, but the concept and design are the only thing that GLiTchHoG had going for them. If the story did get properly finished, I could see this character have more of a fan base. However, that didn't happen. GLiTchHoG has a solid design and some cool concepts, and we should be grateful for what we got out of it. I made this video so people don't forget about GLiTchHoG. I don't want this thing to be completely forgotten about, even if it wasn't finished. This thing brings back a few good memories for me, so let's let them cheer us on. I do hope you were still able to get something out of this. So with that, I'll see you guys next time and bye.